Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Brightspeak podcast. My name is Sarah, and let's take a deep breath, find a comfortable place. Today, I want to share a powerful and inspiring story with you. This story is about an old man who felt his work was unimportant, only to discover that his quiet effort was saving lives. It is called The Quiet Light. Our story begins far away, on a steep, rocky cliff overlooking the vast, unpredictable ocean. Perched on this cliff was a tall, solitary lighthouse. The light inside the tower was the only sign of life for miles around. The man who kept this light burning was Elias. Elias was old now, his hair as white as the sea foam, and his skin weathered by 40 years of sea wind and salt. For 4 decades, Elias had lived alone in the lighthouse. His only companions were the cries of the seagulls and the endless roar of the waves crashing below. Elias had a sacred duty. Every evening, as the sun dipped into the sea, he would climb the 100 winding steps of the lighthouse tower, light the powerful lamp, and ensure it turned, sending its bright beam across the dark waters. This light was a beacon, a silent promise to every ship and every small fishing boat that sailed near the dangerous rocks. But after 40 years of this solitary routine, a heavy cloud of doubt began to settle over Elias. What is the point of all this work? He often thought to himself. I never see the boats I guide. I never received a letter of thanks. Does anyone even notice this light anymore? He felt unseen, unappreciated, and useless. He was just a small, forgotten man in a big, lonely tower, performing a task that felt increasingly irrelevant in the modern world of GPS and digital maps. This feeling was a silent ache in his heart. One evening, the doubt was stronger than ever. It was the beginning of November, and a terrifying storm was brewing. The sky turned an angry, deep purple. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, shaking the thick glass of the lantern room. Elias climbed the steps slowly, his old bones protesting with every turn. He reached the top, his breath short. He looked at the giant lamp, ready to be lit. A voice, the voice of his doubt, whispered in his mind. Just leave it dark tonight, Elias. No one would notice. No one relies on this old light anymore. You are tired. Go downstairs, sit by the fire, and rest. He hesitated. He held the match, his hand trembling. He could feel the strong pull of self-pity and exhaustion. It was a dark, tempting choice to abandon his duty for comfort. He stood there for a long time, listening to the tempest rage outside. He thought about all the years he had dedicated, the birthdays missed, the holidays spent alone, the constant silent vigilance. Was it all for nothing? Just as he was about to blow out the match and descend the stairs, he remembered a single, simple promise he had made to himself when he first took the job. One small light can hold back a great darkness. Taking a deep, weary breath, Elias struck the match. The lamp ignited, and the magnificent, powerful beam sliced through the wind-driven rain, pushing back the black night. He set the gears in motion, and the light began its slow, faithful rotation. The storm intensified. Rain lashed against the tower glass so violently that it sounded like stones. Elias sat in the small room below the light, trying to read an old book, but he could not concentrate. Suddenly, a sound, distinct from the storm's noise, caught his attention. It was a small, high-pitched thrumming, the sound of a small boat engine fighting desperately against the enormous waves. He rushed up the winding steps again, his fatigue forgotten. He looked out through the rain-streaked glass, following the beam of his light. And there it was, a tiny fishing vessel, a mere toy against the might of the ocean, being tossed dangerously close to the sharp, submerged rocks. It was the sea serpent, a boat he recognized from the nearby fishing village, probably carrying two young men he knew, trying to get home before the worst of the storm hit. The boat's crew was battling a wave that would surely push them onto the reef. They were too close to see land, too panicked to trust their small navigation equipment. They were lost in the storm's chaos, relying on instinct and one thing else: the lighthouse. Elias realized with a shock that was both terrifying and profoundly clear. They were depending entirely on his quiet light. If he had given in to his doubt and left the light dark, those two young lives would have been instantly lost to the reef. He did not pray, but he worked. He checked the fuel line. He wiped the inside of the glass. He spoke to the machinery, urging it to hold strong against the shaking wind. He stayed glued to the window, watching his light beam guide the small boat. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, guided by the faithful rotation of Elias's light, the sea serpent managed to correct its course, find the safe channel, and disappear into the safer waters toward the harbor. Elias did not breathe a sigh of relief until several minutes later. He sank into his old chair, his whole body shaking, not from cold, but from the immense tension of duty fulfilled. The next morning, the storm passed, leaving the ocean calm and clear. Elias climbed the tower to extinguish the lamp. He felt different. The doubt was gone, replaced by a quiet certainty of his purpose. He knew, for one single night, his work had been the difference between life and death. As he descended the cliff path later that morning to collect firewood, he saw a small figure struggling up the difficult, winding path toward the lighthouse gate. It was Sam, one of the young fishermen from the village. Sam, dripping wet from the night before, looked exhausted but relieved. He carried a small, heavy sack and a folded, handwritten note. "Mr. Elias, I walked all night. I had to deliver this to you myself. We almost didn't make it home last night. The GPS completely failed during the lightning. We were blind." Elias stood silent, waiting. Sam, continuing with emotion, "My father and we thought we were finished. We were drifting straight onto the Blacktooth Reef. Then, through the chaos, we saw your light. It was the only steady thing in the world. It showed us the gap in the rocks and saved our lives. Thank you, Mr. Elias. Thank you for never giving up." Sam handed Elias the heavy sack. It contained a loaf of fresh, warm bread baked by Sam's mother and a large, perfectly cleaned fish, the best catch of their trip. Then Sam handed him the note. It was written simply in a shaky hand. "To Elias, the man who lights the world. We noticed. We thank you. We will never forget." Elias took the note, and his old eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of overwhelming gratitude. He had performed his duty for 40 years without expecting a single thank you. But the reward, when it finally arrived, was immense. It was the confirmation that his quiet, lonely effort had a profound, irreplaceable value. From that day forward, Elias never doubted his work again. He climbed those 100 winding steps every evening with a renewed strength and purpose. He understood the final, deepest truth. True value is often unseen. Your greatest contributions are frequently made in solitude without applause or public recognition. The quiet effort you make, the constant learning, the persistent kindness, the dedication to a difficult task is precisely what holds back the darkness for others. Elias continued his duty, but he was no longer a lonely man. He was a keeper. He was the man who knew with absolute certainty that his simple, quiet light was a sacred and necessary gift to the world. So if you are studying English and you feel frustrated or alone, remember Elias. Your quiet, constant effort, the extra hour of listening, the difficult repetition, is creating a beacon for your own future. Keep the light burning. Keep the doubt away. Because we promise you, your effort is noticed. Your light is saving your future. And that, my friend, is the essence of true success. Remember this feeling right now, this spark of inspiration you feel. Don't let it fade. Every day you show up to practice your English, even when you feel unseen or when your progress seems slow, you are Elias, climbing those 100 steps. You are the keeper of your own light. The fluency you seek isn't far away. It's being built, one dedicated minute at a time, in the quiet effort you put in today. Don't wait for applause to confirm your worth. Your value is in the work itself. If this story, The Quiet Light, helped you feel motivated or brought you a moment of clarity, please let us know. Hit the like button right now. It's a small click, but it tells us to bring you more powerful stories like this one. Share this video with one person who you know is struggling with doubt. Be their beacon today. And most importantly, subscribe to Brightspeak English and turn on notifications. By subscribing, you join our community of dedicated learners who are committed to turning quiet effort into loud success. We are here to guide you to English fluency, one unforgettable story at a time. Keep practicing, keep believing, and always keep your light burning bright.